I love to see the towns passing by and to ride these rails neath God's blue sky. Let me travel this land from the mountains to the sea, 'cause that's the life I believe He meant for me. And when I'm gone and at my grave you stand, say God called home your rambling man.
Welcome to Ramblin' Man Podcast, episode number 167. This one's with Kelly Barrett Ferguson, and we talk about art. Kelly's someone I just am an acquaintance through social media, but quickly have become buddies with. She's pretty awesome, creates some really interesting art, and this was a really good chat. If you'd like to learn more about Kelly, please be sure to give her a follow on Instagram. It's Pat's Knickknacks, PATSKNICKNACKS. Again, that's Kelly Barrett Ferguson, just in case I misspelled her Instagram handle. But I think that's it, Pat's Knickknacks. But yeah, give Kelly a follow. Super fun and positive person, creates some good art. I appreciate her for coming on. Sponsor this week is Feral Giant. Feral Giant is a graphic design, illustration, and social media consultation company based here in Knoxville, Tennessee. So they do work for clients big and small all over the country, all over the globe, in fact. But they also do photography, videography, video editing, and audio editing, website design, SEO, writing, content development. Hell, they'll babysit your kids if it nets them money. So make sure you give them a follow on social media on either Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or LinkedIn at Feral Giant. And be sure to give them an email today and hire them for your next project. Without much further ado, here's the episode. Are you a Swiftie? Are you a fan of Taylor Swift?
I went to a hockey game last weekend and I loved it.
Okay. So that's the extent.
It was so intense. Go Ice Bears.
Go Ice Bears.
They lost.
Seeing a game is completely different than just watching on TV or anything. Yeah. It's pretty awesome. And they sell out most games.
It was packed. Yeah. I did not know.
Where did you sit?
C section.
But like on the side or on the
It was on the side, okay. Yeah.
I have sat behind the boards, and it is an absolute trip.
That's my goals next time.
Yeah.
You got to really, harass the players by banging on.
Well,
you're doing horrible.
We were sitting behind the actual goal, and how fast they come at you, and they whap.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
It's crazy. It's like soccer, which I played for one single year. They shouldn't have let me on the team, but we were a very small school.
Okay.
It's like soccer, but faster, and things are actually happening. And there's a little bit of skill with the ice skates.
Yeah.
Not shitting on soccer or anything.
Look,
but it was more interesting.
I'm going to quote the poet laureate of our times, Danny Rojas, when I say football is life. Do you get that reference at all?
No.
Okay. Did you watch Ted Lasso? You didn't watch Ted Lasso?
No, not yet.
Ted Lasso's amazing.
Here's the thing. If you ask me if I've seen anything, heard anything, known anyone, the answer is like always no.
This is going to be like a 20-minute long interview.
Have you seen it?
All of mine are all pop culture references.
No. Yeah. Well, I was raised very strictly, so the answer was usually no, you are not allowed to watch that.
Oh my God. Okay.
So now everyone who meets me starts forming their own list of things that they're like, you've got to watch it.
I can't even give you the reference of how messed up it was that my parents let me watch Twin Peaks or Deliverance.
Well, cultural osmosis does a lot.
Okay.
So
I was very young, and my dad made me sit down and watch Deliverance when I was like 10 or 11 years old.
He made you watch.
Yeah. He's like, oh, this is a good one. and clicked it on. Then he went to bed. And I sat there and watched Deliverance scared out of my mind. Like, these are people who live around us.
Around here.
Yeah.
You're like, I know a banjo player.
Yeah. That's why I bought a banjo. I'm no longer a banjo victim. I'm now a
banjo perpetrator.
That's a good name for a band. The Banjo, Jody and the Banjo Perpetrators.
I like that.
Okay. Trademark, copyright. Big man.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
You heard it. No, I'm going to edit all that out so that I can. Okay. So you've alluded to where you originally from.
I'm originally from Charleston.
Okay.
And when people ask, I say all over because that's true.
Okay.
I've been in the downtown, the West Ash, the North Charleston. When I said I lived downtown, people thought I lived in a mansion, but I literally lived in a illegal cabin.
Okay.
Like we were in the back, like what you might call a storage shed. This man had converted into a apartment, quote unquote.
Oh, I've seen it on Airbnb for $400 a night.
No, that sounds about right. It was ridiculously priced.
I keep looking at places in Nashville and I'm like, okay, I selected whole house and it's still like, this is a loft. We live on the loft. It's like, that's not a whole house.
It's not a house. No, we thought it was a house
Yeah.
and we pretended it was until we found out it was literally not even a registered address.
Holy hell. Not even a half.
No,
Maybe a half.
he claimed it was a half, but the city did not acknowledge that. It wasn't up to standards to live in.
So you're in Charleston. Was it as touristy? Because it's kind of had
Yes.
a boom in the last 10 years.
It was always touristy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When Carnival Cruise is in town, it's crazy.
I never think about those.
Oh, yeah. And when friends from elsewhere come to visit or when I go down and be like, I'll show you around Charleston, I don't know any of the tourist things to do. All I can show you is the free stuff that I like to drive around and look at.
Oh, okay.
So I like to drive around and look at the houses, and I go to my coffee shop or I go to the gas station. I get my Arizona tea and I sit and look at the water. That's
I went to Charleston once for 6 days, and I smoked 5 to 7 cigars a day for 6 straight days.
okay.
And
What was the context of so many cigars?
I could not talk for 3 days afterwards. No, there was a couple I knew that bought an Airstream, quit their jobs, and set off across the country, and I would go visit them in towns that they stopped in.
Yeah.
Memphis, Louisville, Charleston, St. Augustine. But we went to Charleston, and they like to smoke cigars.
Oh my gosh.
And it was a lot.
That
Like, it was almost like from breakfast till almost like going to bed, putting it out. And then it was nuts. I feel bad for the maid at the hotel I was at because my beard had to.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they had to probably torch those.
That's too many damn cigars.
It was a lot. It was a lot. I've never claimed to be a smart man. We ate some really good food. I got fussed at for not stopping and getting Krispy Kremes because the hot and ready sign was on.
You got to get the hot and ready.
I passed by it and I almost pulled in and I chuckled. I was like, we're in Food Mecca. I'm not stopping there. And I got and laughed and told the wife, and she was like, why didn't you stop? And she was like, you always stop for hot and ready. Like, damn it. We're about to go have brunch at some fancy schmancy place.
Same rules apply. Where'd you go?
The brunch?
Yeah.
I can't even remember.
Okay. It might stop. It might not be there anymore.
It was in a very weird location to where it almost felt like we went to a place in West Knoxville. Like we were on some highway and we went to some restaurant where we had to stand in line for like 45 minutes to get in when they opened. There was already 45 minutes worth of people.
Oh my gosh. Well, it wasn't Early Bird Diner, was it? No, because that's not fancy schmancy.
It was...
I don't know.
I say fancy schmancy. Oh, God. Damn that. That's a relative term for me.
I mean, they were on drive-ins, diners, and dives, so I wouldn't call it schmancy.
I'm going to search. Because I still use an app called Swarm to check in to places where I go.
Swarm?
It used to be Foursquare. Holy crap. I can actually find Charleston. I can tell you where I went when I was there. Well, I can tell you I stayed at the Motel 6.
Okay.
Campground, that's where they stayed. Maybach Public House, Blue Bicycle Books.
Oh my gosh, I used to go to summer camp there.
The Smoking Lamp, Fridge Quarter.
No.
Charlestown
Yes.
Tobacco and Wines.
No.
South End Brewery and Smokehouse.
I don't know where that is.
This is all in April of 2016. 492 closed for business. Oh, closed for business was awesome.
I don't know where that is.
It was a divey place where I had a sandwich called a pork slap. It was so much sodium. It was enough sodium for a week. Yeah. The Cocktail Club, The Ordinary. No.
The Ordinary is schmancy.
No, that was at 1:31 a.m., so that was not.
Oh.
Ye Old Fashioned Ice Cream and Sandwich Shop.
Oh, yeah. You got to go there. My mom worked there in high school.
Kudzu Coffee and Craft Beer. Jenny's. Charleston Distillery. Oh, yeah, that's when we opened that place up. And Publix, James Island County Park,
Yeah,
Motel
it's a good
6. Glazed Gourmet Donuts was very good.
I think I know where that is.
Leono's Toast. Oh my God. The people at home are like, why are you still talking about that? Leon's Oyster Shop was really cool.
I used to live by there,
Arsenal.
but I've never been because oysters seem expensive to me.
The Smoking Lamp, Sketchy Bus Stop. What the?
It's okay. We can cut all this.
I don't know where the fancy Maybach Public House may have been the place where we went for brunch.
Yeah, it's kind of a bar, but I bet they have brunch. They're kind of schmancy.
Okay.
And it is kind of on a highway.
I guess that's where we went. I'm not 100% sure, but fancy as in it wasn't like a crappy diner or it wasn't a normal.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I know what you mean. That place
Yeah.
I could describe as schmancy. It's the attitude.
Attitude.
It's the attitude.
Yes. I think it was also I was wearing shorts and I felt out of place wearing shorts in there.
It's Charleston.
I know, but there were people like dressed up to go in that place. I was like, oh shit, that's, yeah.
Ah.
Okay, so you're originally from Charleston. What did your folks do for a living?
Pretty much everyone's in healthcare.
Okay.
Yeah. Still is. Hopefully they'll retire soon. They got an Airstream and moved out to the country.
Okay.
Which is weird when I go back now because I'm like, you don't live in Charleston anymore, really. They're like 45 minutes out into the, the woods and.
Okay. My friend, her dream in life was to move to Charleston. She saved up her money, went to move. Lasted, I think, 2 years. She was like, I can't afford to live here. All she talked about was how crazy expensive it was.
I would say maybe my dream in life is to move away.
Away from Charleston?
Not necessarily. I'm not, but it's true. It's expensive and it's like constantly growing. Every time I go back, there's a new giant apartment that's been built and they're fancier and fancier and fancier. And there's no more roads going out of the peninsula. So it's just tight. That's the way it is everywhere though. I mean, Knoxville has a similar issue. So, but there's more space.
What is the island?
James Island,
No.
Isle of Palms, Kiowa Island, Johns Island, Folly Beach.
Folly Beach.
Folly.
I got to go experience Taco Boy.
Taco
Before it changed owners or whatever happened.
Yes. They took away my favorite menu item.
Yeah. What was that?
A portobello quesadilla.
Okay. Mine was a kimchi taco.
Oh.
I ate so many of those, I almost made myself sick. Because every time I was like, I have to have another one. And then we went to some dive bar around the corner that had like dollar bills from across the... That's what I'm saying. I don't think I had every place logged in there because I was like, I didn't see... Although those were probably logged under Folly Beach, and I was just looking for
I think that one's called the Sand Dollar.
The Sand Dollar.
It's a biker bar, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
My
was
friend
a trip.
worked there.
It was a trip. It was a trip just because it felt like it was more sports people. And we were sitting there smoking cigars and just like...
You were the schmancy one.
Yeah, we were... The unschmancy becomes the schmancy.
Who is this man? He chain smoking cigars.
In shorts in April. It was a little chilly out there.
It gets cold.
Yeah. Okay, so you're living out there. Do you have any brothers or sisters?
I started life as an only child and have just continued to gain stepbrothers as I go along. So
Just stepbrothers.
just stepbrothers,
No sisters.
We'll see how it goes.
Oh my God.
But yeah, no, I got a stepbrother like the year I graduated high school, slightly older than me, and then this year I got 2 more stepbrothers slightly younger than me.
Okay.
So I feel like I need to be like big sister.
Oh my God. Rule with an iron hand.
Yeah, that's how my he's my best friend, but also. He's like, you're my big sister. And I'm like, exactly. So I get to tell you what to do.
Okay, so your only child
Yeah.
for most of your life. Were you always into art as a kid?
Yeah. My grandma kind of raised me as well. And so looking back, she definitely was taking me to museums. Like you said, like it's really important when you're a kid to start teaching people because then they can have an appreciation of it for a long time. So we would go to like museums and the library and always nature walks. Like she loves nature. So I would say that she would say that she was the first one to put a drawing pad in my hand.
Okay.
She likes to claim that.
Okay. She's calling dibs on that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably true.
Okay. Was there anybody artistic in your family?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, my dad is a musician, but mostly like in the medical field.
Okay.
So nurses,
Do you play
ER.
any instruments? Do you sing?
I can sing.
Okay, there you go.
I could keep percussion beat, maybe.
Okay.
And I have a keyboard that my dad gave me because I said, I'm going to start back up again. And now I'm extremely guilty that I have not.
Okay.
And my partner just got, I got him a dulcimer for Christmas. So we're going to start a little band.
Nice.
We got to figure out how to play the instruments first.
That's an important step. It's an important
No, it's just a punk band if you
Oh, yeah.
can't.
If you can't, yeah. I've got this weird practice organ in there.
You have an organ.
Well, no, it's this thing to where you plug it in and the fan on it is louder than any noise it makes. That I was doing some construction work there for a while and it was in a closet and they were just like, do you want this? I was like, sure. And I brought it home and I showed it to a buddy who's a musician. He's like, I don't know what this is, man. This is weird.
That's the best way to find things, though. It's just mystery trash.
That may fit in your punk band, though, that the fan is louder than the actual.
I think that would work.
Okay. Always into art. When you were a kid, were you mainly just like drawing, pencils and pens, or were you painting?
Doodler. Like horrible. Annoyed all my teachers kind of doodler.
Okay.
I don't know how everyone was ever like, does this kid have ADHD? Or like, I would be listening, I promised, but they hated it because I would in the sides of all of my notes on the back of a test when I got it done. And so like, I liked that kind of stuff, but then it wasn't really till, I guess, high school where I was like, oh, I like art, I guess. I should probably try painting or something like that. So, yeah, I feel like it wasn't until high school that I started painting and being like, oh, I should start to practice this kind of thing. And
Was high school the first time you actually had like proper art classes, or?
Technically, I never had an art class.
Okay.
I did sneak into the art class a couple times, though.
Okay.
Because I had a crush on a guy in the class.
Of course. There you go.
And I wanted to use their colored pencils.
Oh my God.
So they just kind of let me sit in the corner.
And doodle.
Yeah, pretty much.
Doodle.
Yeah.
I'm going to go backwards. Were you into comic books or cartoons as a kid?
Oh my gosh, yes. You just pulled like a memory from my recess. Yeah, I would do that. I did comic books. So I had like little stories and series that I would draw.
Okay.
One of them, the only one I can remember right now, there's like file cabinets full probably, was about a blind mermaid who comes onto land and she's going to high school. It's like a little mermaid situation, but she was like a deep sea mermaid, so she sees with sonar and she was very sassy. That's all I can remember.
Circle R trademark. You gotta
Trademarked.
bring this back.
I think about it because like Monster High got really popular after After those years, I'm just thinking, did they still...
Did you collect comics? How did you know to draw comics?
I think my dad liked comic books, so I feel like we went to the comic book stores a lot, and I really liked Batman.
Okay.
And then I liked Deadpool for a while. Those are like my two guys,
Okay.
kind of like questionable vigilante types. But yeah, no, so we had not a lot of comic books, but they were definitely around to inspire me. And I still would like to follow up on some of those ideas. Yeah. One of the loose ideas I have that I keep starting and stopping is like an animated superhero series.
Okay.
That's a lot of work though.
Is it a comic book or is it like film or something?
It's animated. Yeah.
Okay.
Or I could do a comic book.
Yeah.
But I tried that, 2 years ago, and I decided I didn't really like it. So obviously I tried to do the more complicated thing of animating something.
Oh my God. Do you have experience in animation?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little.
2D by hand or digital?
Both. A combination process. I need to teach myself more though, because from what I was able to like pull and scrap and will together was just it's not worth it. I need to learn more before I try and actually go for it.
I tried at one point so I was like, I'm going to teach myself Flash by doing a short film to a song. So I picked out my song, I kind of sketched out an idea, and I started working on it. And I was like, I have been working on this for 36 hours. And
Yes.
I don't even have half of a second of footage. I was like, this is killing me.
Yeah.
This is too long. And I've edited films and I'm still like, this is too much, man. I can't do this.
Yeah. So maybe Blender?
I don't know. I don't know that I have the patience for it. I think the best thing is to find somebody who can do it and say...
combine forces with
Yes.
someone who can help the vision come
So
to
I've
life.
got a friend of mine who has written comic books and stuff, and we were talking about something, and I said, oh, you would fuss at me because I have like 2 great ideas for comic books. One of them I have like 8 issues written out and laid out. And one of them, I have like 32 issues written and sketched out. Now, I don't have like dialogue, but I know the beats. I know where I want it to be. And I said, I should tell you those one time. He was like, no, do them.
Do it.
He's like, because if you tell somebody, that creativity leaves
It's
you.
gone. Yeah.
I was like, well, too late. I've already told the story. And I have the one that I've got like 32 issues. I've told the idea to people and gotten fussed at because they're like, why the fuck are you not I was like, because I don't have the brain to sit down and I'm not a good enough artist. I need to find an artist and I don't know how I'm going to work out paying them, but yeah. I also have a very specific, since you know Deadpool, maybe you know this artist. Do you know John Romita Jr.? You may know his art if you saw it.
Maybe.
So, his dad was John Romita Sr., who was one of the major artists for Spider-Man in like the 60s. And then John Romita Jr.'s big one is that he did Punisher Warzone. He has that very blocky, kind of chunky style. Now, he's changed over the years to where, let's see. Like some of his Spider-Man stuff is a little more fluid, but he's still a little blocky.
Yeah, no, I like that hardline style where it's almost, they're doing a lot of work with the line itself.
Yeah. I think he did some Deadpool. That's why I said that. But I'm like, I would love to find somebody like that to where I could... He did a Superman Year One with Frank Miller. That's very weird. I don't know that I knew about this. And that came out in 2019. Holy crap. Okay. Sorry. Now my ADHD is running off with me.
We're good.
Yeah. I had a friend, the whole reason I wrote the comics is because we were both working at the paper and he's a hell of an artist. And I was like, let's write a comic book to get the hell out of here. Like, because I was thinking, I was like, I have an idea for one that could be turned into a TV show. And a comic book would be a good basis. And he just did not have, he didn't care. And I was like, damn, I'm trying to get this out of here, brother.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? So.
No, I feel that. Because you're like, I've got this one thing that we could do, but you're already run down by that one thing that's running you down. So you're like, maybe it won't, though.
Whereas me, I was like, yeah, let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah, that's what I keep
had the
saying is
fire.
like, you just got to do it.
Yeah.
You got an idea, you got to do it.
Yeah. Eventually, one of these days. It's a good concept. But the big thing was every issue was going to end with one page with a quote or something on it. Like a main image, almost like an alternative cover image with like, and I actually have a ton written down of stuff from King Lear, stuff from the Bible, from like Revelations. Holy shit.
Now, were you raised Baptist, sir?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. But I have a lot of the Iliad, stuff like that.
That sounds
Like,
cool. That sounds really
I
cool.
actually did a lot of research and anyway. Okay. Now we're going to go back to you. Good God.
But see, the thing is, the more times you tell somebody, the more guilt and pressure is going to lay on you to do it.
Yeah, seriously. Because when we get off mic, if I can remember, I can tell you the log line in like one sentence.
Okay.
And you'll just be like, holy shit, yeah, do that.
I'll steal the idea.
I will. I will be very hurt. I will cry.
Oh, no.
You don't want to see me cry. It's very
No.
sad. Do you remember the first piece? Like you were talking about your grandmother taking you to art museums and stuff. Do you remember the first piece that you saw that made you stand up and take notice?
That's a good question. And probably not. I mean, memory is so fuzzy when you're a kid.
Yeah.
But the Gibbs Museum is in Charleston, and they're pretty cool. So they had like a mix of contemporary and historical. And Blue Bicycle Books, like you said, I went to a couple of summer writing camps there.
Okay.
Because I also like to write. I like to tell stories. And they would take us to the museum once a week, and you'd have to write a poem or a story or something about whatever work you found compelling. And I don't remember the work. I'm telling a different story. I'm sidestepping your question.
Okay.
So basically there was a piece that it was abstract and it was kind of orange and yellow, and it was really interesting to me, and I wrote a poem about it, blah blah blah, forgot about it years down the road. So last year I was going through all of my stuff from my parents' houses because I finally moved out, and I found the poem and realized that it was by an artist who was in the historical art collection that I was working for.
Really?
So it was really interesting to be like, oh my gosh, this whole time, like this artist has been with me my whole life. And it just makes you wonder, like, how have the things that you have seen but don't quite remember exactly influenced you?
Yeah.
Like they all kind of, your brain soaks it up and then it spits it back out in a different way of creativity. But it was just cool to see those connections form from like, wow, like my parents and grandma really were investing in my time and being like, it all mattered.
Yeah.
So that's probably the story I can think of.
Okay. Did you ever talk to that person, or had they passed? or
Oh
anything?
yeah, he passed away I think in the 90s.
Oh, okay.
I want to say, yeah.
Okay. So we're going.
But I told my grandma.
Okay. That sounded very abrupt. Okay.
Okay.
I didn't mean it that way. So you're in high school. You're kind of, what is that called when you go into a college class and you're not taking the class, but you're auditing? You're auditing your art
Auditing
class.
my art class. Oh my gosh.
Did you kind of know what you wanted to do when you were in high school? Were you being pressured into getting into the medical field?
No, they never really pressured me for that. But I think that like writing was probably something that they were leaning more towards because they were like,
Okay.
like this is useful. You can do something with that.
Yeah.
And I did go into writing in college.
Okay.
First, and then Spanish. And then every semester tippy-toed into an art class and just was like, I'll take one each semester. And then, I guess I'll minor. And then literally my last year, it was I had one more semester to go.
Okay.
And my mentor was like, I don't understand why you never had declared an art major. Like, why didn't you do that? You should have. And I was like, oh, I should have?
Now you tell me.
So I stayed another semester and I finished an art degree too.
Okay.
So it was like a real slow slide into convincing myself that, yes, you should pursue that.
So do you also have a writing major or just the art major? You got 3. You got Spanish.
Yes, don't ask me to speak Spanish,
No,
though.
that's okay. I took Spanish for 2 years in middle school, and I donde está la biblioteca? Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. That's about as,
They shouldn't have let me graduate with
Yeah.
that one. I could tell you a lot about the history and literature, though.
Did you stay in Charleston to go to school?
No, so I was in Spartanburg for that.
Okay.
At Converse College. And you know about Converse?
No, I just know it's a basketball shoe.
Okay.
I was like, oh, Converse.
No. It's just either you know or either you don't
I've
know.
heard of it just because of the name.
Yeah, no. I think there was a lawsuit at one point.
Oh, really?
Even though I think the college was around since before the shoe. But in this general region of the South, either you don't know or you're like, oh yeah, my grandma and my sister and my cousin and me, we're all Converse Connie alumni. And you're like, Jesus. It's kind of culty.
Okay. Where are they at in the state? Because
So
I've been to
You know where Greenville is?
Greenville and Columbia. I've
Yeah.
been to Greenville and Columbia.
It
too.
is like 30 minutes east of Greenville.
Okay.
And we're bitter rivals
Okay. With Greenville, the
with
city.
Greenville, the city. Yeah.
Greenville, the city is a pretty badass town.
It's pretty good. And Spartanburg wishes they could be.
Okay.
They don't have a river running through the middle of their city. So they really, well, they do, but it's muddy.
Okay.
But they're trying to get up there with the arts scene and, step 2.
Greenville has a good food scene.
They do.
They have a good food scene. My friend, she lives there. She works for Liquid Death.
Really?
The
They're out
water
of
company.
Greenville?
No.
just on-
She's a regional rep.
Oh.
She was for, God, why am I blanking on the beer? Asheville Beer Company, the Funkatorium.
Wicked Weed?
Wicked Weed.
Yeah.
She did work for Wicked Weed as a regional rep, and now she works for Liquid Death as a regional rep. And she
Cool.
lives in Greenville. So I was like, hey, I went through a very rough breakup in 2022, and that woman and I had a lot of plans for that fall. So I just took those plans. I was like, I'm going to take this PTO and go and see my friend in Greenville, because
Yeah.
Greenville sounds like a cool town. And then I did not get to hang out with her at all. She adopted her brother's 2 kids.
Oh.
And her sister was supposed to come in and take care of them so she could go hang out with me. And that did not happen. So I was on my own and came home with literally a box full of records. Maybe 2 boxes full
So
of
you
records.
saw a lot of Greenville.
Yeah. Record stores and bookstore. It was also pissing rain the entire time I was there. So it was like, I got food. I went and ate at a lot of good restaurants. But yeah, I spent a lot of time in record stores and bookstores because it's like, it is gross outside. And there is nothing else to do because I'm waiting on my friend.
Yeah, that sucks. It's a really nice walking city.
Yeah.
They've got gorgeous trails.
I think the first night I got to walk around downtown waiting on her to get meat for dinner. And I got to walk around and went to an ice cream shop and had ice cream before dinner. So it was very good.
That's the way to go.
And maybe even coffee. Like, it was crazy. Okay. Spartanburg. You went to Spartanburg. You lived in Spartanburg.
Yeah, I've been there for 5 years.
Okay.
And so it felt weird to move away finally, but that's the goal. I don't want to stay anywhere too long.
Okay.
4 or 5 years is probably key for you get to know the city, you make friends, you get a little tired of it, you move on.
Okay. Well, hopefully in 4 to 5 years, you'll move from Farragut to Knoxville, and then sorry.
Everyone's trying to get me to move downtown. I'm just, if the rent prices downtown will go any lower, then maybe.
That ain't gonna happen. Good God, it's insane.
I don't think so.
Live there. Did you move anywhere else after Spartanburg?
Let's see. For half a year, like during the summer, I commuted from Rock Hill on the border of North Carolina, South Carolina, which is an hour away. I commuted in to Spartanburg for a marketing job that I worked.
Okay.
It was like marketing and children's book design and what else we did? Social media. It was just like an everything job, and I drove an hour in and back every day, and it kind of sucked.
I was going to say, did you have heavy traffic? Was it a pretty drive?
No, it was beautiful.
Okay.
It was through the country, but when I lost signal or the time that my phone completely died, it was a little sketchy. And then let's see, I lived in a horrible roach-infested apartment in Spartanburg. First time on my own. That's what I could find for myself. It was terrifying. So I moved into my parents' trailer in the countryside.
Okay.
And then I think after all of that, I was back here. No, technically, I lived in Greenville for a hot second. Sorry, Spartanburg.
Okay. But what made you pick Knoxville?
When I first moved here, I met someone who said, "Did you move to Knoxville for love or for work?" Because he said those are the only two things. So I guess love. Yeah.
Oh. I think a lot of people move here for college. Like, that used to be the big thing.
That's why he moved here.
Okay, there you go. Good Lord. So is he a Knoxville guy?
No, so we're both technically from Charleston originally.
Oh,
yeah.
Shit. Okay.
Yep.
Charleston to Knoxville.
I know. And then there's family, and technically I have family somewhere up here I should meet.
Okay.
I don't know. But yeah, so we're here until he's done with graduate school.
Okay. Did you go to graduate school or MFA or anything like that?
No, I
or
might.
thought about it?
I mean, I just really wanted to get out of school.
Okay.
I was so burnt out and ready to just like start working, doing things. I have like a billion creative projects always bouncing around my head. It's like, I have no juice. I have no gas in the tank.
Yeah.
It's all school. So maybe I'll go back. I don't know if it's all it's chalked up to be.
Okay.
It sure helps on people's opinions of you, though.
Yeah. Oh, God. Am I going to get into that on another...
I'm practically inviting derision here.
Well, it's the same thing. So my degree is in design from a school with where I got an associate's. And forever, I couldn't get a job at an agency because I did not have two letters on my degree, on my resume. And that is U and T. And it sucked. Because it was like, oh, you're going to have to work in-house. You're going to have to work anywhere other than an agency. Because you didn't go to UT. And I always joke now, it's like, just because I didn't, I really want to teach. Mm-hmm. And in order to teach, I'm going to have to go back and get a bachelor's, a master's, and possibly a PhD.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, why do I have to be $200,000 in debt?
Yeah.
And have a piece of paper so I can do what I've been doing for 33 years? I was like, if you can't figure out that I know what the hell I'm talking about after 33 years, it's stupid. And I know it's a whatever rule, screw your rules. Like, at this point, that's silly.
Hey, if you go to some states, they're not requiring it anymore. So,
but I mean, for something technical like graphic design, that's silly.
Oh,
for something like art, that's silly.
It is. It is. Well, and I mean, there's got to be other ways. You know, like an experienced person is better than someone who's probably just fresh out of school.
Right.
So where does that balance out?
Well, if you want to hear me yell about this, you can listen to my episode with Josh Shorey.
Okay. What number is that?
I'll have to look it up. But it's where it's just me yelling about the Cool Kids Club. If you're not in the Cool Kids Club, you don't actually matter. I was like, and it was a lot of talk on there about like, you know why I don't create art? Because I don't feel like nobody would give a shit. And that's a real bummer. And that's a real deterrent for creativity. To where if you do stuff and even people you care about don't give a shit because you don't have an MFA or you don't, as I jokingly say, wear a beret and smoke a cigar out of a cigarella or whatever.
But who are those people? Like, who would you want to give a shit? I don't know if I want you to name names or anything. Because I guess, like, artistic...
Not to be sad, but I also lost my mom last August.
Oh.
So I don't really give a fuck about any of those people. I would want her to give a shit. My dad to give a shit. My sister to give a shit. I don't care about any of them anymore. They don't matter. I'll tell a funny mom story. I love telling funny mom stories. My mom was the sweetest, most brutal person on the world. And I've worked big jobs where I've done literally millions of people have seen my work. I know that because I worked at the paper. So I worked for PetSafe. Millions of people across this. And she's sitting there talking to me about something. She's like, she fussed at me for being bragging or something. She's like, oh, honey, stop. I was like, what? And she's like, you don't need to do that. I was like, I've done stuff. I'm good at what I do. And she's like, that's adorable, sweetie. God love her. Like, it was the best because it was like she knew to put me in my place. Yeah. Like, just shut up.
And you know she's proud of you.
Oh, yeah.
But she's like, I can't let him get away with it.
Yeah, totally. I always joked at my dad, if you asked him what I did for a living, he's like, he's a graphic designer. It's like, what does that mean? He'd be like, he designs restaurant menus or something. Like, that's it. I was like, yeah, I've done global rebrands. But yes, I've done like 3 restaurant menus. Sure.
I don't remember what episode it was because I was listening to them disjunctedly. I'm sorry. But
no, they're 3+ hours long. It's fine. Yeah.
It was I don't know, you were saying something about like graphic design being a skill set, like that where you get to be creative, but also it's like a technical skill set. And I think that's one of the things that I wish people talked about more for like creatives is there's jobs out there in the arts that you can be creative. In graphic design has tons of avenues that you can use your skills and use your passion, and it's not useless, quote unquote.
Well, Kim, who I know you listen to, she's done murals that are just logos on the sides of walls. Mm-hmm. In addition to her artistic murals. Mm-hmm. It's like, those pay the bills. Yeah. This was, because I come from design and marketing and all that world, I have fussed at a lot of artists about like, wait, you can do this that makes you money. And it's like, yeah, but I don't find that creative rewarding. And I was like, get that money and do the creative rewarding thing. Yeah. That's the whole point, dummy. I was like, don't struggle. And there is an artist that she could do this certain piece that it wasn't step and repeat. Here, I will point to it. Well, hell, you can't see it behind. Yeah, you can. See the second one down?
Okay.
Up there?
Yes.
They were always that. And there were like 3 of those pieces up there.
Okay.
But it was almost like a template, but then here's the template, and then she could do whatever. Yeah. And those would sell for like $65 to $75 a piece. And then she would complain to me about not being able to pay her rent because she couldn't sell a 6-foot by 8-foot piece that she wanted to sell for $10,000, whatever. I was like, but you can do those that people want and will make you money. She's like, but they're not creatively fulfilling. I was like, take a Monday and do 10 of those. Yeah. And do that every Monday. And then you have 6 other days of the week that you can do whatever your heart desires. And it was almost like because I was telling her to do it, she was like, I'm not going to. I was like, then you're an idiot. I'm sorry. Like,
Apologies to the artist in question.
No,
no apologies.
She's an awful person, so no. But I told you the spiciest it tastes. Oh, I've heard,
gagging.
I grew up so poor and you had to have a job. So when I hear people like that be like, well, I can do something and it's easy and it makes me money and I don't want to do it because it doesn't spark a flame inside.
No, you do what you do until you can do what you want.
Right.
I very firmly believe in that. I mean, obviously there's a balance between like not slogging your soul through the ground and the dirt.
Yeah.
Like there's got to be a little bit of a middle, but doing something that's good enough, you know.
Well, I think in that came out of the graphic design stuff of like, my little sister went to school to be a nail technician.
Mm-hmm.
And she's really good at doing art on nails.
Yeah.
To where she did like a Super Mario scene across.
Oh my
nails.
gosh, I don't know how people do that. It's crazy.
And I sat her down when she was about to graduate, and I gave her the spicy take Big Brother thing because she's 11 and a half years younger than me. I was like, you're going to have to eat shit for like 2 or 3 years because those first few years of you working are just resume builders. I was like, go and work somewhere for 2 years. And then once you have 2 years on your resume, that leads to a better job, which leads to a better job, which leads to a better job.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but you're going to have to eat shit for 2 years. And she didn't like that. She's more sensitive than I am, I guess. So
It's true though.
yeah, but I think it's because I come out of that world of like, oh no, I worked shitty design jobs to get to where now I'm somewhat respected here. I'm going to knock on wood when I say that. You did the same thing as Kara. Kara was like, that's not really what I'm gonna knock on. She did the exact same thing.
I know, press board.
Yeah. Okay. So you're in college, you get out of college, you move here. And so in looking in your feed, it's a lot of painting.
Yes.
So is there a media you prefer when you paint?
I started in acrylics. That was what I worked in mostly for a while. And I don't know why I started in oil. I feel like I want to say that there was someone snooty at my college who was like, it's not real painting unless it's oil painting. It wasn't an art school. Like, it was just a regular college, but there was still some people with attitudes and like an ego to pump up, which unfortunately I feel like I walked away with a little bit of toxic thinking for personal artistic practice. But yes, mostly oil paintings right now. And
and some of people go home, and I've said her Instagram handle in the beginning. Be sure to go on, and it looks like Breaking Bad sometimes because you were in like a full body suit. Like for one of them, I was like, "Are you cooking meth?"
I'm cooking up something.
like it was funny. I was just like,
I love my paint suit.
yeah, paint suit. That's what
No, I look insane. I for sure do. It's not an aesthetic Instagram page. Like I look at other people's, I'm like, oh, I wish I could, but I'm too chaotic for that. It's not gonna happen.
You're painting in your garage.
In my garage, yeah, which is the biggest studio I've ever been blessed with. It's been kitchen tables and like fold out tables. Oh, I'm still using a fold out table, but I have more space. Yeah. And technically I did have a space my last year in school, but people had no respect for private objects.
Oh, really?
Somebody got into my paint one time and smeared it everywhere. And I only knew because there was green fingerprints all over the place.
Oh my God. So they're an idiot to boot.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Yes. Which I found very offensive that the teachers did not fingerprint test them. Because you know what happened to me? Let's see. My sophomore year, I accidentally used someone's fancy printer paper. I didn't know it was in there. I didn't know I had hit print. I thought the printer was jammed. Lo and behold, they came back, 2 hours later, and all my prints came out of my fingerprints. The project was to do something with your fingerprints.
Oh, my God.
The professor was so mad, righteously, because the paper was expensive, and came to our class and was, whose is this? Whose is this? We're all working on the same project, so it's like, I don't know, it's fingerprints.
Yeah.
I came up to him, I said, look, I was using that printer earlier. I have no idea if it was me because nothing printed. I'm sorry. Just like let me know if it turns out to be me. I'll pay the money for her materials. And I saw him in his office with a magnifying glass comparing the fingerprints. How would have he gotten a hold of my fingerprint? I don't know.
God.
But a week later, I got called in by the honor board.
For using that paper.
And lying about it. Even though I didn't lie.
God. People are... This is borrowing trouble. Like what?
Yeah. Anyways.
You wonder why I have spicy takes. This is why I have spicy takes.
I know, and I won't even give my spiciest take because I don't like to burn bridges, but I will say I was very unhappy with that professor for a long time because of that. I thought it was not nice. It was not nice.
No. Well, and also, I say this and not trying to sound condescending when I say this, you're also a kid.
Yeah.
Like, fuck off.
I know.
Like, not you, them.
Yeah.
Like, you're also a kid. You're allowed to make mistakes.
And I was I was an honor school angel, so I was like, I would never do anything wrong.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. Don't put me in front of the honor board. They're scary.
I also feel like that's also a weird thing of like, that's very much a school thing.
Yes.
Whereas in the professional world, when I worked at a print shop, I had made a mistake that cost hundreds, if not $1,000. And you know what everybody told me? It's okay. It happens.
You do what you do. Yeah, it happens.
We'll figure it out. And one of the ladies, Virginia, told me that she said, the good thing is you'll never do that again. I was like, I will never do that again. Because the anxiety I was feeling, oh my God. Because I was like 23 working at this print shop that had been around for like 50 years.
Yeah.
And I screwed up on because you know this a little bit, I screwed up on the bleed. I put the bleed down the center.
I've done the same thing.
And it was an annual report that fit into an envelope and it fit snugly. I actually talked them into doing a special size so it would fit snugly and it wouldn't have worked. And we had to get film produced somewhere else. And everyone felt bad for me.
Oh, no.
Even the owner of the print shop was like, it is okay. We will figure this out.
Oh, my gosh.
And the people making the film actually said, oh, we are going to sell this to you at cost. Because like they were just like, oh, no, we understand why this happened.
Oh.
This is totally...
That's good.
But Virginia, the lady who stripped up the film, she was like, who was in like her 70s or early 80s. And she was just like, she put her hand on my shoulder. She was like, you'll never do that again. Like, I will never. She said something like, you have learned the most valuable lesson ever. I was like, what's that? And she was like, you will never do that again. I was like, I will never do that again. And I've never done that.
See,
before.
That's the kind way to teach a lesson. Because you're going to shame yourself enough. Nobody else needs to
I
do
didn't
it.
get pulled in front of an honor board. Because it was a professional environment where they're like, oh, no, this happens.
Right.
This is totally fine.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Anyways.
That's amazing. I can't. Okay.
It's kind of a fun story, though.
Yeah. I kind of want to. Is that professor still there? I kind of want to go visit him. It's like, hey, you know her? Yeah. We got to talk.
No, he loves me now. That's the
does
thing.
he? Okay,
Yeah.
never mind. You're good. You're going to get drunk in front of him and be like, remember that time when you sent me the honor board?
I don't think that he remembers the time. I think he's probably like, why are you holding a grudge against me?
Why does your face scowl every time you see me?
Every time you see me, like,
Oh, he's so happy to see you, and you're like,
you did things.
You start sounding like Charlie Brown's teacher.
Seriously. Yeah, no. All I need is an apology.
Okay.
Okay, I don't want to bitch about that.
No, I am going to go a little backwards, a little circly. So when you got out of school, were you wanting to pursue art as a career, or did you get a job somewhere to where...
When I got out of college?
Yeah.
Did you finish your question? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Because you had mentioned earlier working for like kind of the catch-all place. Was that the first place after college, or did you try to make it as an artist on your own?
So that was the first place during college.
Okay.
I need to write a list down. I've worked like a lot of odd jobs, and I'm not very old.
Yeah.
So that one, let's see. I got the marketing job as an internship over the summer, paid, which was nice. And then they were like, you're doing a great job. You should come on part-time. And that was my last semester that I was like coming on extra for. So I was trying to balance working at this place, which was really intense to work at. Like, it was crazy.
Okay.
It was crazy.
How big was the marketing firm?
Very small.
Okay.
So the craziness.
That could explain the craziness.
Yeah, it was
bigger company. You can kind of be okay.
Oh yeah. Fun fact for me: I've never worked anywhere that has an HR department. If that tells you anything you need to know, there's a lot of shit that's gone on that's like, you would immediately be brought before some sort of honor board. I guess that's what the HR is, the honor department or whatever. People to keep you in line.
The job I have now, the person who did HR retired, and they've never found a good replacement. So we don't have an HR department, and we have one guy that is, he's a little rough, and every once in a while I go, man, thank God Catherine isn't here anymore. And he was like, oh no, Catherine knew. Like,
oh no.
Oh yeah, she did. You all worked together a lot longer. I had to shoot a video for work. And he said something like, I'll be in the videos. Like, I haven't figured out how to do the beeps on the videos yet. So I can't put you on on our internets. Like,
oh my gosh.
And the owner was standing there and he started giggling. He was like, oh yeah, we can't put him on our Facebook page.
The things that slide through and nobody's looking.
Oh.
Nobody's looking.
But even, I worked for PetSafe, and my boss, God love her, Jill Weinstein, sat right across from me. And the shit we said to one another, if the HR department ever heard, we would have been both kicked out.
My gosh.
Because we just had no filter, and she liked messing with me, and I liked messing with her, and she was awesome.
Well, that sounds nice. That sounds fun.
Sorry, I've had
I've also had positive experiences where I was like, this is not appropriate work relationships, but we're cutting up. Yeah.
When I worked at the news, I'll let you, sorry. I got to get back to you, but this is still stupid. And they're in there in an envelope. When I worked at the News Sentinel, we had cubicles, the tall cubicles. And my little group, Special Publications, Vivian, Rhonda, and I, anytime I said something inappropriate, Rhonda would take a post-it note, right, HR worthy, and I would hang it in my cubicle. When I left, after only working there like 2 years, it filled both walls and the back wall. And so the director, Deneen, came over to wish me goodbye, and they brought me a little cake, and the entire marketing team came over, and they sat down. And Deneen went, huh, what's that? And Rhonda was like, oh, anytime he says something inappropriate, HR worthy, and then goes, oh my God. And Rhonda just started, she was crying, she was laughing. That's like, Rhonda's got like 6 or 7.
I think I need to start one of those.
HR worthies. I love it.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. I think I had one in one of my jobs. It's just really good statement that was totally inappropriate. Yeah. Oh God, I wish I could remember. Anyway,
sorry. So you're working part-time at the marketing place?
I work part-time there. It was really good experience, but it was way too much expectation to put on an intern.
Yeah.
I should have been part-time the whole time, like a real job. And then I went back to school, was working there, and was living 30 minutes away in a trailer. It was too much. It was all too much, and I think I ended up breaking down in front of that boss. Anyways, I graduated, and I thought I was going to move back home, but ended up getting a job with a local Southern art collection in Spartanburg, which was like a miracle because there's not that many arts organizations in Spartanburg. It was like a benevolent, well-to-do family, has a huge personal collection of Southern art, and they just display it for free.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's based in Spartanburg, but they also tour the works to like national museums, etc. Like they loan it out for free with the purpose of kind of elevating those artists who were either based in the South, somehow connected, maybe they were born there and then fled as soon as they turned 18, never came back. But, there's like a history of those artists not having the opportunities for various reasons, mostly just being that they were totally disconnected from New York and Paris. Okay. So one of their main missions is to like educate the people of Spartanburg and also educate the world about those artists.
So you're doing that. Were you still creating art for yourself at home?
Yeah. So oh my gosh, what was I doing during that time? I think that's when I started working on the animated TV show.
Okay.
And I was doing a couple of paintings. I was working out of my kitchen at that point. Couple of paintings and mostly digital work, so like digital illustrations. And I think that's also when I started the book that I'm writing.
Okay.
I don't know when, but I went into a giant bookstore full of crappy fantasy and romance novels and thriller novels, and just looking at all of them. They're a little sad. They're a little forgotten. But I just thought, like, all these people did it. Yeah. I can do it.
Okay.
And maybe it'll get forgotten, but I could at least get something published.
Are you still writing that book? You're
Yes,
still writing that book?
I'm still writing that book. It's like 2 years in now.
Do you already have an idea what you want the cover? Because I assume you're going to do your own art, of course.
Yes. That's like one of the first things that I worked on before anything was done. Oh my gosh, I'm going to murder your mic. I might have a photo of it here. I don't know. That might be hard to find. Let's see. I'll find it for you in a second. Okay. Anyways, yeah, my goal for that is to have it like the draft done by the end of the year, maybe.
Okay.
It's hard. I don't have a lot of stamina.
Okay.
I don't have a lot of stamina. It's constantly trying to figure out like what exactly do I want from like paintings? Where do I want those to go? Do I want to sell them? Do I want to exhibit them? It would be nice.
Oh, God. We are going to bounce all over the place. Since you've been here, or even when you were there, did you have any gallery showings?
So, let's see. I've shown it a couple places in Spartanburg.
Okay.
Mostly within the last year, which was really nice. And it's mostly because I started to meet people, which is why I don't feel like I've gone very far in exhibiting, because the only shows I've been in are shows that like, oh, my friend knows the organizer and why don't you come along? And so it's like, oh, okay, I will. So I haven't had a lot of success with like blind applications. Usually, yeah.
Whatever it takes. Again, I'm not going to get back up on the soapbox. There are a lot of people who have a lot more opportunities just because they have money or family behind them. So any opportunity you get, you gotta take it.
Yeah, no, and I really appreciate that they like gave me those opportunities. So I actually just had another piece show in a brand new gallery. It's called Ridge Gallery, and it just opened in Spartanburg. So I'm happy for them that like, a new gallery opened and they're showing mostly local artists. So I don't know if they know that I'm not living there anymore. If they are just like, we know Kelly.
Yeah.
I don't know. But so that was recent. Most of everything is in Spartanburg.
Okay.
But I also joined A1 Collaborative, and I've shown in 2 of their shows last year. So they had one at IAMS and one at Red Gallery. It's downtown.
It's the one next to Robin Easter. I always forget that that's the name.
I think that they might be the same thing. Robin Easter Design.
Yeah, she owns that.
Red.
Yes.
It's all. Is it part of the same space?
It's one building. One side is Robin Easter Design, RED.
I got confused.
And then one side is just a giant gallery, which is also hers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
They said it was a meeting space as well, so I was confused.
I've never seen any meetings in there, but I've been to plenty of shows.
Okay, so it's a gallery.
Yeah, it's a gallery, but it is owned by Robin Easter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I never put together Robin Easter design.
I didn't either
Red.
until I was trying to figure out, is it one or is it two things?
Oh, no, I mean that it's named Red. Robin Easter. That's never occurred to me. Okay. So you have shown, okay.
I have shown, but let's see. I've not sold much, which I guess is what I would really like, is to start kind of being able to make money off of, some of my paintings.
Yeah.
The first painting I ever sold was out of the back of my car
Nice.
for $400 cash.
Nice.
I was moving all of my works out of the storage unit my parents had been keeping it in, and feeling bad. I mean, like, oh, I've got all these paintings, I can't get rid of them. And some man just walked up to me and was like, "Is that yours?" I'm like, "Yes." "Oh, you did it?" "Yes." "I like it. I think my wife would like it too. Stay here. I'll be back in 30 minutes. And I just...
That's a lot to ask, brother. Like, did he quote an offer or anything, or ask
I mean, we
okay.
We did a little barter, but at the end of the day, that's the most I've ever received, for... So, I mean, also a good story, but
Yeah.
I have no idea where that painting is. It's just gone.
Yeah.
Bye.
His wife got in the divorce. That's sorry.
I would love to know, I would love to see it show up somewhere just years later down the line and be
Yeah.
like, holy shit,
That's where that ended.
that's mine. Well, because I've also dropped little tiny paintings of mine all around the world. Like every time I travel somewhere, I forgot to do it last week. Every time I travel somewhere, I take a small tiny painting and hide it somewhere. And I hope that maybe someday.
So there was a guy that also was a former guest on the podcast, but he lives in New Orleans now, Adam Newman, that he would put them in these little bottles.
Oh.
And he would paint something in like a scene. Like he would look at, like the one I have is at the Friezo.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the Friezo? It's like a crappy cash only.
I think I've seen a picture of it.
So he drew the Friezo and then watercolored it, and then it was on just a scrap of paper, rolled it up, put it in a little bottle, and set it by the Friezo, and took a close-up photo of where it was at. And I was like, that's the Friezo. And I rushed over there and found it. And he did that. He started its own account for it. He did it 6 or 7 times.
Now, he's not the guy who does Knox Found Art, is he?
No.
Are you familiar with him? He might be someone cool to talk to.
Knox Found Art.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, there's a WordPress. See if I can find out who this is.
I want to say his name is John. He had a show at the Bijou.
Why is it not? All right. Dude, your SEO sucks. Because it's not leading to your Instagram, which I assume is where you're wanting people to land. Now I'm going to have to search for him on Instagram.
Oh, here.
John Pemberton. I recognize that name.
It is John.
Yeah, I recognize that
Well, I
name.
really wanted to buy some of his work, so I was kind of obsessed with him for a moment. Okay, I found the copy. Or at least an idea for it.
Nice.
And then I even did a little...
Animation. That's awesome. I'll have to remember. So I did some... During the pandemic, I did these glasses. Print Shop Brewery commissioned me to do these glasses. And one of them was called Neon Renaissance.
Ooh.
So I drew these historic neon signs in Knoxville and then just made up different ones. But made them look like they were in a neon graveyard.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
In a neon graveyard.
Yeah. Okay. John Pemberton. I recognize that name.
I think he's a teacher as well, but he does the he also does the art drops, which I'm a big fan of. I really wanted to hear back from whoever found them because I like to, I don't know, foster community in that way, or meet someone and talk to them. The first one I did, someone did reach out to me and was like, I found this on a really tough day and it just felt like it was placed there just for me, and that the universe like granted me a gift on that day. I was like,
Oh
my God.
Yeah.
I know. So that was really nice. And obviously I'm not expecting to make someone's whole day by finding it, but it would just be cool if someone was like, hey, I found it.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, it was washed away in a drain, which I found one time.
Oh my God.
It wasn't quite in a drain, but it had rained and it was so beat up. And I was like, oh, nobody found it.
That could make it makes it a whole different kind of art, though.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
You know, I mean, come on. You know me. I'm always looking on the sunshine of things. I'm always glasses half full kind of guy. I'm never negative or spicy about anything.
Never.
Insert here 10 other
montage.
times on this episode. Where I was just like, motherfucker.
Insert here me biting my tongue.
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to think where we're going to go back to. We're going to go back to, okay, so you said, where we left you'd quit the part-time job.
Right. So I quit.
And then you went to work for
I went to work for the Southern Art Collection.
The Southern Art, and you were creating art on your own. I wanted to go back to you talking about doing the animation. So when you work in digital, what do you work on, like an iPad? Do you Cintiq? Like what apps do you use? Or
I don't have an iPad. It probably would be easier if I did. I have been working by drawing out like a basic slides, kind of like a comic book. You would all of the different
okay,
what do you call that? Frames, all the different frames. So I draw like a basic frame and do a couple of those and upload them into Photoshop.
Okay.
And then was kind of jankily hand animating them from there.
Okay.
So there's probably a better system, but like onion skinning, and I just kind of hand draw each like blink. And so I've found ways to make shortcuts and be like, let's do this simpler, but I didn't get very far. I think the best I got was like a loop.
Not to be self-promotional.
Okay.
I run a group called Knoxville Society of Illustrators.
I saw.
Okay.
I got excited about that.
Free meetup every month. It's very low stakes. We just sit around. People usually work on whatever they're working on. We just talk shop. And there are a lot of good people in there. There are people that you could talk to. Because like one of the people, Esther Sipper, she's constantly getting shout outs on this podcast. You think I got spicy takes. Esther she comes close. She got years to go.
to become
embittered. Embittered as I am. But she has done some stuff with animation. She works in, why do I always forget? There's a newer person that started coming, Will, that they work on a like iPad, and it's not Sketch.
Oh, it's probably Procreate.
Procreate.
I know. That's what everybody is talking about. And I'm like, I'd like to know about that.
Yeah. Well, they're good to know because they will gladly share anything. I actually, God, if I ever release her episode, I still have not released her episode.
She followed me on Instagram.
Oh no, there's an episode I haven't released yet of an artist out of Atlanta. The hell I record that December 10th. Shay O'Connor. Shay, if you're listening, I'm sorry I haven't released your episode left. I've had to release some because of timelines.
He has a personal vengeance against you.
I do.
I heard it here first.
Shay is an awesome person. Designed by Shay, but she was the first one that I saw that she works in Procreate, and she would show her process videos.
Yes, I've seen those too.
And it's awesome.
I didn't know how people did that.
And I would, because you can just screen record. So when I was talking, because I come from the marketing side, in these illustrators groups, I'd go, look at her stuff, and this is how you do this. Like, just record, and then you can, that's content.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about content. It's right there for you. God, I need to send her an email, though. But sorry. And she's about to also get skipped over again because I'm about to... A guy I know is about to launch a Kickstarter, so we're going to record soon. So I'm sorry, yours will be pushed back, too.
That's okay. Maybe we'll push back and I can do like a little plug at the end for the secret things that we're working on.
Yeah. Okay, you're working for them, but then you move here.
Yes.
So you move here, and is your focus is doing art your full-time gig now?
Kind of.
Okay. And you don't have to talk about if you've got a shitty day job or something. It's okay. We can move past that.
No, I just like to associate myself as like an artist separately from my job because I do work in the arts industry. Okay. Here's something I'll say that I am seeing more and more. It's interesting to be like on the line between starving artist and those who hold the keys.
Yeah.
And I'm not, it just becomes very apparent from where I'm standing now that it's all completely subjective.
Yeah.
It's all subjective. It's all just personal taste. It's who you know, like you said.
Yeah.
So it's really shitty that, I mean, I'm looking from a small town view of like what it looks like in Knoxville. And now that I have a little power to be like, I can put a show together. I just put the show together because I like the artists, you know, and they fit together. And just thinking like, that's how everyone else does it. You know, or there's maybe like a little bit of monetary thing, like, oh, this artist is worth a lot, we should show this one. But it's just, I guess I'm trying to say it in a way that would make one feel better about getting rejected. Is like, that's just that one person.
Yeah.
And I know that's kind of the situation for like my personal art is kind of not really what's popular in this region of America, like abstract, kind of creepy, a little weird. I don't know. I mean, not all.
I wouldn't say kind of creepy.
You haven't seen the creepy ones.
Maybe I haven't scrolled.
They're kind of, I think I've buried some of the creepy ones.
Oh, okay.
I mean, also, I got nervous even showing some of the works or even completing them. Like, I really wanted to do a baptismal series where everyone kind of looks like they're being drowned. And I got a little bit weak sauce on fully committing to that because I knew that it probably would not be received well here or that no one would show it.
I'm going to disagree.
Okay.
Because I think there are a lot of people here that... See, I always consider Knoxville a medium-sized town.
It's medium. That's true.
Yeah.
It's bigger than Charleston, that's for sure.
I think there are a lot of people here that are fighting against the stereotype that it is a conservative Christian area or region. And so I think they would actually... Because, hell, I think Piss Christ was here when I was in
Piss
the
Christ
90s.
was here?
I think... Damien Hirst, is that right?
That sounds about right. Where was it? In the Knoxville Museum?
Oh,
at UT.
There was, or maybe it wasn't, whatever. I just remembered there was a piece. Maybe I'm not describing Piss Christ. I'm going to describe the piece. There was a piece that it was a person's blood and stool and urine that they had AIDS and they did this piece using their stuff. So it's like what was there could kill you because it has AIDS.
Was it like a print?
No, it was a physical.
It was a physical work. Okay.
Yeah.
I think Piss Christ is just like a crucifix in a jar of pee and then it's like a photograph of it. I don't quite know.
I'm going to Google it. And I'm going to go into Safe Browser
to
search for that because I do not want that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, God, it's a 87 photograph. Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Oh, Andreas Serrano. Okay. Southeastern Center for Contemporary Arts. So maybe it was here.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I just remember in the 90s there was some really sketchy shit that some of the people there had issues with it being there. One of my buddies who was in the art program there was like, man, that's somebody's dookie. That's gross. Like, he was just bare bones about it. He was like, I don't care about it. It can say whatever it wants as art. That's somebody's poop. He's like, I don't like that. He's like, I don't want somebody's pee and poop.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
He's like, that's gross, man. I was like,
It's a little gross.
You're right. That is gross, man. I don't know. I think there are people that would show that to push back. Who would do that? I do not know.
That's the question about the silos, is like finding a place. I've thought about doing DIY gallery.
Yeah.
I know some people who are thinking about it.
There was a cool gallery here for a while that I'm going to try to say this in the abstract as much as humanly possible. It was a guy who had a cool space where he did this cool stuff. And then he started dating a woman who is well connected and who is awesome. And she was like, you have all this empty space. Why are you not doing galleries? So she started putting together galleries. Mm-hmm. And I got to be a part of that one of the times. And then they broke up and he doesn't do that anymore. And it was just like, well, that's a bummer. Because that was a cool space that would do weird, crazy, cool shit.
Now, there is one that I know of. It's called Badwater Gallery. It's somewhere North Knox. It's run out of the back of someone's garage.
Okay.
And they do real abstract, like real conceptual, like beyond me a little bit.
Okay.
I'm not totally into it, but I love that they're doing it.
Well, I hate saying it's gone, but Central Collective probably would have shown that. Dale wouldn't have cared.
They would have. I had the pleasure of going to the Central Collective 2 years ago. I drove up because I saw on Adeem the Artist's Instagram page that he was going to be in Knoxville for a holy...
Adeem, that pile of shit.
And then I saw that he's the one, they're the one singing your...
theme song.
Yes, I was like, oh my God. I drove all the way up here from Spartanburg, so it was like 3 hours.
Oh, really?
Yes. It was 2 years ago. They were doing a like Christmas vigil, quote unquote. And so it was like a holy, unsanctified church. Like we went to church.
This was during the pandemic?
Yes. We were all masked.
I don't remember this.
It was really small.
Okay.
And, or maybe it was like an Easter service.
Well...
in any case,
behind the scenes a little bit. So my mom and my little sister, my mom was not in the best health. My little sister's not in the best health. So when it came to the pandemic, I really locked down. So that may have been why I missed it. But so I used to do benefit shows every year at the Central Collective.
Yeah.
And called Happy Knoxville Holidays. And Adeem was the one that we worked on that together. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I've known Adeem for the reason why Adeem and Dale and Sean co-own the Central Collective, Dale Mackey and Sean Pointer. The reason why Dale and Adeem knew one another is because I was president of AIGA. We had a drink and draw at the Central Collective because I was friends with Dale and Sean, and Adeem and their wife Hannah came.
Is that the now defunct drink and draw?
No, this was AIGA, American Institute of Graphic Arts. There's been 2 other drink and draws since then that ran for a while and then don't run anymore. But we were the OG ones to do it. And Adeem was like, this is a good space. I want to do a show. I'll do it here. And that's how they met. Adeem and Hannah's kid is Isley Dale, named after Dale.
Now, is Dale still here?
Yeah, Dale and Sean are still here.
What happened to the collective? Or that's the people...
That is a story for them to tell.
Okay.
I'm very close with them.
Okay. Yeah.
That is a story for them to tell.
I've never met Dale personally, but I stalk Dale on Instagram. I really mean, like, the collective was one of my first introductions to Knoxville, and I was like, oh, yeah.
So did you see Super Cult when Dale launched Super Cult?
I don't know.
I'm the one who did the branding for Super Cult.
Okay, I'll look back.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was originally going to be like a podcast and all these things. And she was going to... I can't do it because she may still come back to it. I'm not spoiling it. Okay. I'll tell you off mic, but
tell me off mic.
It's a great idea.
It's cool stuff. People should do that. We love it. That's why I was so happy to move to Knoxville. So y'all do good things.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying is I think there are places it won't be normal places. I actually think doing it DIY would be a lot better. I think what sucks now is there are so many places doing First Fridays that it's hard for the artists to go to First Fridays?
I can't go to any because I'm always working, and
Yeah.
I feel real bad about that. And I know, like, I look very shady, always being like, I'll be there.
Yeah.
For the first like 6 months was here, I was working 2 jobs, so I couldn't be anywhere.
Yeah. But I get it, but it's, yeah.
So maybe events that are not just on First Fridays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like Sarah Shabaro, who used formerly Stripe Light, now Shapes with No. It's the letterpress, the printing shop next to High Resolutions.
Oh, okay.
Across from the Central Collective. So that's Sarah Shabaro. Excuse me. She did the closing of her gallery showing on a Friday night, and then did a second one on Monday because she was like, not everybody can make it on a Friday. I'm going to do a second one on Monday. If you couldn't make it on Friday, make it on Monday. The only problem was it was when we got the ice, and I was like, oh, I wanted to go. I can't leave my house.
Nobody's
Like,
leaving the
I
house.
can't. I
yeah.
felt so bad for not going. I was like, but I couldn't have gone Friday. Like, it was one of those bummers of just like, sorry, Sarah, can I see the work? Like,
Yeah.
okay. So you move here, you're doing your own work, mainly working in oils.
Mainly working in oils,
Is
trying
there well, I was going to say, is there a theme or a thought process you have going on? Are you creating a series of pieces, or are you just doing whatever you feel like?
I'm trying to do a series of pieces, but I have a wild brain that likes to run off with me, so it's difficult before I
Yeah.
start working on something else. I'm trying to put together a series of abstract works because, I don't know, I've never done them, but with the way things are just in the world, it's so hard to like put words to it or put thoughts to describing how you feel.
What's going on?
You're like, nothing.
Wait, nothing's going
Nothing's
on.
going on. It feels there's going to be certain phrases when they look back on history and be like, uncertain times.
Yeah.
Uncertain times
Yeah.
with the state of the world.
Yeah.
It just, anyways, it seems hard to put that in some sort of figural sense or like put together a composition without it being like overtly preachy, or because I don't want it's hard to do something like subtle, I guess.
Yeah.
Also, maybe I'm scared of saying things. I don't know.
No?
But so I'm doing abstract works to just put the feelings onto the canvas in like ways that make sense to me, but probably no one else.
So that's your focus right now. Do you still work in other media? Like, do you still like do some digital stuff?
Mostly graphic design right now.
Okay.
Just because I don't have time to, like, the other projects are bookmarked. They'll come back probably when I finish the book.
Okay. And like, have you thought about getting into murals or doing any kind of 3D art, something to expand? Like,
murals for me would probably be too big of a project to undertake.
okay.
But I love what murals bring to a community. In Spartanburg, they did a couple new ones, and it was exciting. One of them was on the side of my work building.
Okay.
And I love them. They're gorgeous. They make sad old buildings happy again.
Yeah.
I like sad old buildings, but sometimes they're really depressing. And this one was nice, but it was supposed to be for like kind of advertising mental health services to homeless and people who don't speak English as a first language. So homeless community members and immigrants.
Yeah.
So it was a image of like 2 people reaching out to each other, and it was kind of embracing. It was supposed to be positive, but there were no words, and there was just a QR code. And right, so it's like, well, if someone is on the street, they might not have a phone.
Yeah.
Or if they don't have enough money, they might not have a phone. And so it's like, how are they supposed to QR code that? Why would they do it if they don't know what it is? And that kind of started some thoughts of, some people said it was useless. And I thought that was a little bit harsh because, obviously some people may scan the QR code and find out that there was free mental health services for them. But it started me into thinking, like, what kind of actual functionality are murals bringing to people who are in a struggling situation? Like, besides just looking at something lovely, are there other ways that art can actually physically improve people's lives? So I don't know what that looks like. The first idea I had was bus stops, like sculptural bus stops.
Okay.
So there was one in Charleston I saw. It looked like it was gorilla made, like somebody just put it there. The seats, it was two huge sculpted heads in like a kind of traditional African style with clay, and they were really cool. So the two heads formed like the legs of the bench, and then there was a board across the top. And then they had built like just a plank board. What do you call that? Not press board. What'd you put up when you're doing construction?
2x4?
Yeah, I guess it was 2x4s. But it was just really basic wood structure, and then they had...
the structure.
Why can't I think of the name?
God, now you've erased it from my
No.
memory.
It was wood. Plywood. They put up plywood and painted it with a message of something positive. But it was usable. You could go underneath the structure, get out of the rain, get out of the sun. You could sit down and wait for the bus.
So you're thinking of more like create art as a function or a purpose.
Art that has a function, yeah, or it can be used, or it can actually physically better someone's life.
Right.
Because, I mean, speaking of living in Farragut and living with all the, brands and hellscapes of malls and subdivisions and shopping markets, they look awful. So I know what the physical world can make you feel like, especially if you're living in a rundown area and all you have is like Dollar Generals and strip malls. So I think that art should be reincorporated into like our whole world design. Like, tear down all the strip malls and put back a nicer building, damn it. Like, we like looking at those old rundown buildings because they had at least some semblance of craftsmanship to them. Like the downtown kind of warehouse district area.
So that's a struggle. Here, I'll give you another spicy take. I hate that these condos and apartment buildings all look like shit.
They're horrible.
Like, why can you not spend an extra $125,000 and put a brick face on it or something? Because those that are along Suttrie's Landing Park, that are along the river, are the ugliest of the ugly. I was like, and those are what people who come here see.
Yeah.
That's not a good ambassador of Knoxville.
Yeah. Well, it also makes people who live around it you want to feel like a pride for your city and a pride for wherever you live because it reflects on you in some way. And so it's just, if there's any way that we can try and bring art as something functional back into everyday use. Because, I don't know, like, there's a lot of complaints about, people don't care about the arts anymore. Like, they don't get it. It's boring. And I just keep thinking, like, they don't have time for it.
Yeah.
Nobody has time to, like, look at a thing on a wall and be like, oh, yeah, I get it. Because it's frivolous in some ways, especially to people who aren't necessarily driven by
trying to survive.
Yeah, you're just trying to survive, and you're like, that's nice, but I don't have any time to think about it or want that to be with me in my house, or why would I even get something, So all of that just makes me think, how can we bring art to people in a way that would make sense?
Right. Okay. So that's your next big project.
It is. Before I left Spartanburg, I got really crazy and was like, I can do it. I can do the bus stop project before I leave in 3 months. No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I will say, like, as far as the beautifying things, Like, I like that the city did the thing where they wrap the electrical boxes with
Yeah,
art.
I've seen that before.
I like that. Like that has no function, but it also is not just a big gray ugly box.
Yeah, that like definitely makes you feel better about
Yeah.
your surroundings and like hopefully less depressed about
Yeah.
where you are. It's little things too. It's obviously not the whole situation. It's not going to make everything better, but I mean, if you live in a place that looks beautiful and nice and clean, like you feel kind of okay.
Okay. Kind of okay.
Kind
That's
of okay.
hilarious. Wow.
I mean,
That sounds so hopeful. I'm just kidding. I'm
sounds so
just giving you a hard time.
I don't know. I wrote it down in a better way because I wanted to say something about like improving people's general well-being.
Right.
But I mean, also I think we should, tear down all those things, compress the buildings into something like, oh, you could fit all those stores in one larger building. That's gorgeous. And then plant trees where the whole strip mall was.
Oh, kind of like, shoot. That thing down in Atlanta.
Yes.
It starts with a P, I think. I'm going to type shopping, building, Atlanta. Ponce City Market.
Ponce City Market. I don't know if I've been there.
They took like an old industrial building that's like 5 or 6 levels. Like, let's say I think it's more than that. Let's say it's 10 levels. And it's all like shops and food places on like the first 2 levels, including like Nike outlets, it's got big brands in there. But then it's like a lot of living spaces, and then there's a bar on top. But then everything around it is like trees and shit. Because it's like it's its own thing.
Yeah, because you can compress.
Yeah.
I'm not saying everything has to be compressed, but I'm saying it
but
is.
You also live in the world of blacktops and Farragut.
Yeah.
Like there was one day during the summer where I went to It's Also Yummy Cafe. And my cousin and I were standing out there in the parking lot. I was like, I'm not kidding. It's 10 degrees hotter here.
It is.
Because it's all concrete out here in West Knoxville. Whereas my house, we have trees, we have grass. Not saying you don't have that there, but when you're in the heart of Kingston Pike.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, it's 10 degrees hotter. It's like, this is insane.
I grew up in an area like that in Charleston, too. And it's not good for the environment. It's not good for the people who are there. Like, you're miserable.
Yeah.
And, it's just, I don't know exactly what that looks like in the end. I mean, it would be a huge overhaul of architectural projects and.
Well, I hate to say you'd have people bitching about it because Cumberland Avenue, they took it down to where it's like 1 lane on each side with turn lanes, and they put trees and stuff in the middle.
Yeah.
And all everybody does is bitch about it. And it's like, the people who bitch about it, I'm like, you don't even go there. It doesn't impact you one iota. And yet you got to have an opinion about it.
But the traffic. Oh, they did that in Spartanburg, too.
Yeah.
And they put fruit trees in, and all everyone could say was, oh, it's just going to be awful when those fruits drop, and it's just going to stink.
Oh, my God.
I was like, it's gorgeous.
The one person that I'm friends with that had a legit argument about that, which I was like, okay, that's on the city. He's a firefighter, and they tried to turn a fire truck, and they did not leave room for a fire truck to turn.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And he took a photo, and he was like, huh. But he blamed the mayor. And I was like, nope, you don't blame the mayor. You blame the engineer, civil engineer who did that.
Yeah.
Because how could you not think about a freaking fire truck coming down this crap?
Or an 18-wheeler.
Yeah.
Oh, 18-wheelers. I've seen them hop so many curbs and just thought, like, I could have been parked right there.
That's what my dad did. My dad was a truck driver forever. He hooked he does not like West Knoxville. He hates it with every fiber of his being. And that's why I'm so anti-West Knoxville, is because it comes from him.
It's fair.
He and an 18-wheeler hooked a U in the middle of Kingston Pike.
Oh my God.
I think he told me, he said, fuck these people. And I was like, Dad, I've never told you I love you before. I love you. Like, it was so great. He was like, and I think it was right there at like Pellissippi Parkway.
Hey, there's room there, I I guess.
Yeah. But he had also been a truck driver for like 40 years.
Oh, yeah.
If anybody's going to do it, he can do it.
There's definitely truck drivers who I've watched make insane turns and been like, applause.
Yeah.
Masterful.
Oh, God. So we volunteered this thing called Wreaths Across America, where we go to Veteran Cemetery right before Christmas and put a wreath on every grave. And he, for years, had been trying to volunteer. He finally got a hold of somebody. After 1 year, somebody had rented a U-Haul truck and was driving and almost drove it off of a hill onto the gravestones.
Oh my gosh.
And he was like, let me drive your damn truck. And I had to leave like while they were cleaning up, and I watched him just gun it and almost like peel out. And I was like, yeah, he can do that. He's been driving a truck for 50 years. He knows how to do that.
He's a pro.
He's a pro. It was like they didn't have to get a crane out here for him because he knows they had to get a crane to hold the truck up.
Oh my gosh.
Like, it was insane. He's like, let me drive your damn trucks. He's like, this is stupid. You're some schmuck driving a big U-Haul.
Oh, yeah.
Let me drive your truck. Yeah. So, yeah. God, what? 18-wheelers, civil engineering.
Oh, yeah, civil engineering. And it all goes into it. And that, I feel like, comes back to the siloing, is we've got to find a way to, like, I don't know, just connect people together more, because creative people have ideas that they can't necessarily complete.
Oh. So I will say, the city did do something good. You know where Sweet Peas is downtown?
No. Sweet Pete's?
Sweet Peas Barbecue.
Yes.
Okay.
In Old City. Right?
Kind of. It's
next to it?
Yeah. Old City is weird, but it's just around the corner from the 100 block. But there's that big parking lot in front of it and then the train tracks. Mm-hmm. So the city owns that and held a public forum on what they should do for that parking lot. And you got to go and you got to see what other cities were doing, and then you got to write on Post-it notes what you thought. And I just wrote HR worthy into it. I'm just kidding. And you got to put, and I got interviewed by Alan Sims, who does the Inside of Knoxville.
Great guy.
And I said, you don't need more condos here unless they're, affordable.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to do, and I was like, what you should have here is open spaces for kids, like theaters, art studios, stuff that kids can come into the city and do. I was like, if you want to don't put housing. We don't need more housing.
No, not right there either.
Affordable. I was like, we don't have a housing crisis. We have an affordable housing crisis here. I will disagree with everybody on that. But I was like, no, that's what it should be. It should be more of a community hub than anything else. And I'm glad they opened, and there's part of me is like, are they actually going to do any of that? They should.
What did they say in the end?
Don't know. They had that public forum. I don't know that they've represented. They also didn't do a good job communicating that event was happening. So when I went, it was all architects and developers and a handful of people who paid attention. But I was like, no, I'm going to be here because this fucking matters. And I was like, but same thing. There's Able Trade down behind Jackson Terminal.
Yeah, that was another one of the first places I visited.
I know those guys. Those guys should have been there because it's going to impact them.
Yeah.
I don't think they knew about it. Damn it, I should have texted them.
When was the meeting? Was it?
It was like 3-4 months ago.
Oh, okay.
Because when we left, Alan and I stood outside and talked about it for like 10 additional minutes of just like, he's like, so what do you think? And I was like, I don't know anything's going to come out of that. Because you've got developers and architects in there that they're money people. That's who's going to get a hold of this. And it's just going to be some boring ass shit. I was like, that's not what we need. But at the same time, they're developing the baseball park and there's condos attached to it. All of them are pre-sold out. I was like, who are these people?
I guess they're coming in.
I don't know.
I've
been told it's also people who live in Farragut they want a place downtown, an additional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd believe that. Dang it, I just had a question.
Sorry.
No, let's come back to it. What were we saying?
Talking about
Alan
the city,
Sims,
about that lot.
Able trade.
Affordable housing.
I was
space for kids to do arts.
I was gonna ask one, but that wasn't.
Sweet peas, you want to talk about barbecue? I'll talk about barbecue. I'm just kidding.
I have gone there only to deliver something for a conference one time. I didn't get any food out of it.
Damn it. You can't. They have the best mac and cheese in town. But
I believe it. I saw it. It looked amazing.
So good. And my friend Paige, who's a vegetarian, told me the best trick, and I do it every time. She said, put a little barbecue sauce in there.
Oh,
It's so good.
that sounds amazing.
Here is something. No, damn it. You can't have it either. They make their own chips, and they put this seasoning on there, and you dip it in this pimento cheese. Sorry. I'm sorry.
I could suffer a little, maybe.
Well, you can still have the chips.
I could have the
chips.
chips.
The seasoning they put on the chips.
I love
is
a seasoned
primo.
chip.
It's primo because it's also that it's like a cut potato, so it's a
It's
that little bit
yeah,
soft.
Yeah. Oh yeah, those are good.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, like the Lowry salt.
Oh,
That sounds like the oh gosh, what do they call it? Tornado taters or something
tornado taters.
in Dollywood.
Oh, I've been to Dollywood one time as an adult. Like I just never. I don't ride roller coasters.
Oh, okay.
Makes me
then
sick.
it wouldn't be fun.
Yeah, it
it's
makes me
only
sick.
roller coasters.
I talked all this mad shit about how I was going to scarf an entire funnel cake by myself. I made it like a third of the way through. I was like, I overstepped. I talked too much shit. My buddy Neil was just like, no, you got to finish that. I was like, I'm going to vomit on you, dude.
Oh my god.
It was good. But after about a third of it, I was like, this is a lot.
It's funnel cake. They'll get you.
Yeah.
And definitely not on roller coasters.
Yeah.
But man, no, I was gonna ask about I know that there's some sort of housing being developed within Knoxville that is
There's housing developments everywhere.
affordable.
Oh, yeah.
It was like a whole thing.
They're redoing Western Heights which is a projects to
Okay.
do affordable housing in there, and they were doing another. They're doing a few that it's been a bigger deal, but it's like, is this just an upgraded projects? Like I hate to call it projects, but that's what it was always called. Lonsdale, Western Heights, like that's what they were called when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Is there another name? You're younger than me.
Section 8.
Oh, okay.
That's
Section
kind of
8.
that's what I hear is called Section 8 housing.
But it's like, is that what it's going to be? Because there's so many people in the middle.
In the middle,
Like you all.
I couldn't apply
Like
for
you
that.
all.
Yeah,
Or
I
like
looked at it.
Kara, who I just had on, she was like, I don't know if she said this on mic or off mic. She had essentially said, I don't know that I'll ever be able to afford a house. And it's just like,
Yeah.
but those are the people in the middle
Yeah.
that they're not.
Oh, and that's
You
why
know what-
people were upset was because they were saying like, well, this is just housing, or it's houses, and they were essentially saying, well, this is for the upper middle, I guess. So people who couldn't afford a nicer house, I guess. I don't know. It still doesn't seem like it's attainable.
For people who only barely have a 6-figure income between the two of them.
And can still barely afford a house.
And still, they're the ones that get these houses.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've had this discussion with a guy at work that works in that his part of the business is construction and bonds. He's like, no, there's a housing crisis. We need 40,000 more houses. It's like, no, we don't need 40,000 more houses. We probably need like 12,000 more affordable houses. To where Boulder, Colorado has started doing a new initiative that Knoxville could learn from, which is because it's getting so stupid crazy to live there, and it's a smaller town. Boulder is kind of a smaller town because they can't grow too much because of the mountains. and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And they have started doing a thing to where if you are a Boulder resident who has been living there for over, let's say, 10 years, you can apply and you can get housing at an affordable rate that the city will actually step in and help you. So my friend
Interesting.
Sasha was trying to do, because she's lived in apartments her entire time.
Yeah.
Because she can't afford housing. And she found a place that she was like, this is really nice. And it still was going to be like $100,000 or $125,000. But she was like, but this house on the market would probably be a $400,000 house. So she was like, that's affordable for me. But the city was coming in to help and be like, brokering a deal between, let's say, whoever lived there before it passed away, and it's like, instead of maximizing your profits, like, can you do this maybe for a tax break? I don't know what it is.
I know there's definitely city initiatives like that. Also, abandoned and blighted houses. Yeah. There's you could go through the city and kind of like, oh, I'll buy that house for really cheap and renovate it. I know they did that in South Carolina a little bit, but
I think people used to do that here, but it was either poor people who were like, well, we'll just move in this house that's kind of run down and we'll fix it up over time, or it was people like the person who bought the house next door to me who got that house for like $30,000 because the dude who lived there was getting his doctorate and then got a job offer in Alabama and had to immediately move. I wish he would have told me. I would have bought it for 30. I couldn't have afforded it. I would have had to get a third job to be able to afford it. Or I would have probably leaned on my parents and been like, you all can't really afford this, but the two of us together can go in half on this and make this work. And that guy bought it, and he stood out here and he was bragging. He was like, I'm going to flip this thing for $95,000. He did not. He did end up selling it for like 60.
Yeah.
But that was before this big boom. And then the guy who lived there just sold it for like $198,000.
My gosh. Within how many years?
It's a 850 square foot house with 2 tiny bedrooms. The sad part is some woman bought it for her decrepit mom. And I was like, who the fuck has $200,000 to buy a house for their... How rich... God. Like, it's crazy. How long... My neighbor George, he ended up moving right there. Mm-hmm. He had lived there probably 10 years.
Okay.
Maybe.
Well, I was just wondering, like, how long had they been in the house before... From the sale to the increase?
Oh, from the 30 to the 60? Oh, no, that guy was just a flipper.
Okay.
He was like, I redid the kitchen, I did this. He's like, I'm putting like $10,000 in this. I'm expecting to sell it for 90-something thousand. And then it sold. It sat on the market for like 8 or 9 months, I think. And then George bought it for like 60. And then he lived there for like 10, 12 years, I would say. And then he sold it because he's by himself. And he was like, I just want more room. This is a small house. This house has a lot more room. So he bought that one. But that woman who moved in there bought it from an old couple for nothing. And then she sold it for an insane amount of money. She was a young woman. I was like, damn it, man. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
It even happened in Charleston where I was living with my parents. Behind our apartments was literally a crack house. It was rough, but it was right on the water, on the marsh. And the property directly next to it, I mean, this is like the bad part of town.
Right.
You know it's not good. They have no electricity and there's always BMWs out front. It's rough. It's really rough. Like and so these people bought the property directly next to it, built a huge, like 3-story Charleston single. Like when you think of fancy Charleston houses, this is what they built there. And it's right on the marsh, and they'll probably fall in about 5 years, whatever. And it's literally the definition of gentrification. It's kind of amusing to like look at the two houses and be like, what the hell is happening here? And I would have been kind of okay, maybe okay if they said, oh yeah, we just found this really good piece of land and we got a deal. I mean, it's just, they must have got it for really cheap. If they were going to live there, okay, fine.
Yeah.
They're not. They're from out of town. They bought it and they're going to sell it for like twice as much as they built it.
Oh, I thought you were going to say we're Airbnb-ing it, but God, that's okay.
I mean, maybe they'll Airbnb. No, I don't think that's allowed in Charleston.
Oh, okay.
Anymore. I don't know. But yeah. And so it was like they're just literally people from wherever coming in, getting this land for super cheap. And I'm sure in like 5 years, none of those houses will be there anymore.
It's nuts. There's a friend of mine that is from Boston, sold a house for a lot of money up there, came down here and bought blighted properties that were really in bad shape, like foundation issues, massive issues. Foreclosure sales.
Yeah.
And he bought like 3 of them for a song for nothing. But also these were houses that like even the shell of the house was iffy. And so he bought one in an area that a transportation company has come into.
Okay.
If you happen to know who that is, that maybe 4 letters that they may have come in. Here, I'll type it here. And they, because the city is wetting themselves for how much money they're bringing into the city that they're not actually bringing. Oh, no, here, I'll just turn around. I'm just making it big so you can see it.
I've never heard of that company.
Have you not?
Okay.
We will talk off mic about that company.
Okay. Well, because I was thinking of another, but it has 5 letters, and they're also kind of not hot.
I have to think about that one.
Shipping and packaging.
5 letters?
Packing materials.
Okay. Okay. I used to get a catalog from them. That's all I know.
Yeah,
who you're talking
they're
about.
not good people.
But them, they wanted my friends one of his houses, so they could tear down that house and have 8 more parking spaces for their business.
Oh my
for
God.
their company, not their business, because they're not retail, and they pushed the city to condemn his property, and the city was sending him letters of like, your foundation is ruined. We are going to take your property. And he started laughing because he was like, oh, I put in a whole brand new foundation like 6 months ago. You didn't even come look at it. He was like, and then he found out it was that company trying to take for 8 more parking spaces.
That's so corrupt.
And it's funny that they are a logistics they're logistics and transport. They're logistics, and they couldn't figure out that they need more parking. They've tried to tear down all of that neighborhood because they don't have enough parking. Whereas there are plenty of other places around town where they could have gone in, where they would have.
Oh, yeah.
They could have bought East Town Mall. And was that before your time?
That's before my time.
Okay.
My time is this past May.
That's right. East Town Mall was right out there, and it's now an empty building that Amazon built as a shipping distribution center that they just decided they didn't need. So they tore down the mall and then built that big ass ugly building and sold it and have done nothing there.
Oh my gosh.
So that company that's a logistics company
could have
taken that over and had thousands of parking spaces, had a food court, had all this stuff. But no, they built in a neighborhood, in a building that they had already sized out of before they even moved in the door. And they're a logistics company. That tells me they do not know what they're doing. Okay, we've gotten off topic. Not a shocker for this. In hour 6, we'll start to address the big issues. But that's always my joke. In hour 6, you're like, you may actually get to hour 6.
We might. Yeah. I'm not easily kept on topic.
Yeah. If you need to text somebody and be like, I swear I'm okay, we're just chopping it up and talking shit.
He's probably, he knows. Okay. He knows the deal. I was like, it's going to be late.
So the aforementioned Krista, her boyfriend, was texting her and calling her like, where are you? Because it was 4 hours later. Like, it was the best. But anyway, we've got to... Okay, so art as a function. I like it being incorporated more. I like... How about this? I like some murals because some walls just need to look pretty. But my hot take is always, I think the community should be more involved. Like, you should get more high schools involved and let the kids actually do art so they can see their art up on walls. that's a much oft repeated discussion on this thing of just, I think you should give opportunities to more people who don't normally get it. But serving the function, I think that's cool. I think more green space is much needed, but it's just, it doesn't make people money. So they don't want to do it.
Yeah. None of these things would.
Yeah. But it's, hell, I was listening to Rob Lowe I like his podcast. It's pretty good. He's kind of all over the place, which is probably why I love it. But he had Ted Danson on, and Ted Danson was talking about how he started a nonprofit about oceans and fishing, like in the early 80s when he first got fame. And he was talking about how some of the ocean off the coast of Florida got up to like 100 degrees. So they're talking about like global warming and how that destroys the fish and how that impacts everything. And it is a weird thing of seeing, God, I've really gotten off topic on this. It's a weird thing that we all see global warming happening and people just don't want to deal with it. It's kind of fucked up, but it's also such a big issue that I was like, I don't know how to fix it either.
Well, I guess that's where a lot of this is coming from is, okay, we work in the arts and we work in design and marketing, and all those things are important to make things happen. But then there's these huge issues that you're like, what am I doing about that? Like, you know, your work becomes your life because it's what you spend the majority of your time doing.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you should connect your personal value to it, but it is what you spend your days doing. Like that's what you live your life doing. So like, I have a hard time trying to reconcile the two of being like, how can we make art useful in bigger things like that? And I think that plays into how you're saying, like, it would changing people's lives, making them for the better, like bringing in communities that don't always have access.
And I'm always going to go back to the kids, because one of the questions I always ask is, was the first piece of art that made you stand up and take notice? You don't know how some kid is going to react to seeing one of those concrete pieces you're talking about that's just a bench, but it's so elevated that it may click in their head or make them, you know, hate to say turn their head like a dog, but, you know, do that kind of sideways.
Inquisitive.
Like,
Yeah.
Like, just, yeah. I think it's a good thing. I think getting it out of the hands of old rich white people would help. I know they got the money to do it.
They got the money. It's tough.
They got the money to do it, but it's, what is it? Hire people smarter than you and then get out of their way. I had a boss tell me that at one point that they never did that. But I was like, that's a great sentiment. Hire people smarter than you and get out of their way. So maybe if these rich old white people who can fund all these projects can give money to people and get the hell out of their way, maybe that'd be good.
Taking notes, thinking of how to make that happen.
Yeah.
But
But it's also the weird thing of like what you were talking about, how they're used a phrase and now I can't remember what you said. Because you were talking about distilling your feelings about bigger problems into your art. And damn it, you used a phrase, you were like, in the future, they're going to look back and we're troubled times.
Troubled times.
Like channeling what you're feeling into your art.
Yeah.
But it's also the communicating of the, I think it's good to communicate that. It's like, the reason why I did this piece is because this that I saw on the 6 o'clock news is really bothering me. And this is what came out when I thought of that.
Yeah.
Don't write a 15 paragraph like, well, in the grander scheme of bullshit. Like, just cut to the chase, cut to the quick. Like, there's a lot of fucked up things going on in this one. That may be a good group project. Get like 10 different artists and say, almost like this, like, what is something that bothers you? Okay, is it global warming? Can you create a piece about how you feel when you think about that? That may be a good project.
Yeah.
A good gallery.
That would be good.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell A1 about it.
Okay, totally.
We're having our members meeting soon, and they do like group collaborative projects. So,
Yeah.
it could be
What is
interesting.
a big issue that bothers you and what comes out of you.
Yeah.
How do you express that?
Yeah.
I think that'd be an interesting show.
I like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, art is really important for like communicating things and carrying on truths and like connecting to each other in that kind of way. But I just worry, you know,
Yeah.
If I can't make a living doing it, you know, and it's not just about the living, but it's just, you understand.
Well, I said it because I know you. I keep bringing up that Income issue episode because I know you listen to Issue like it was a comic book. I keep mentioning that because the thing I brought up on there that I bring up a lot is before Joe Rogan went bad shit, before Andrew Yang went bad shit, they had an episode about UBI, about Universal Basic Income. And Joe Rogan made the point, the person in the world who could do ceramics the best and most impactful could not know it because they're having to work 3 jobs to fucking survive.
Oh, yeah.
And that's fucked up. That was Joe Rogan who said that.
Somebody remind that man that he...
I know that he used to be a great interviewer. He went from being like a pothead idiot that would interview his comedian friends and they would shit talk other comedians. I love that. And then he actually was like, I want to learn about UBI. Andrew Yang is the guy running on UBI. I'm going to have Andrew Yang on to talk about that. And it was a great interview. It was a great interview. But somehow he just got off the rails and it sucks. Because he also has such a big platform that he can do that.
Yeah.
He had somebody on recently that was trying to prove that AIDS wasn't, saying that AIDS wasn't real. And I was like, are you just fucking with people at this point?
Yeah, I think so. It's probably a big joke.
Yeah.
It's full nihilism, you know? Yeah. You give up, and you give up in the wrong direction.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's wild. It's... Anyway, UBI would be nice. I don't think anybody would agree to it in this country.
No.
We can't agree on anything in this country at this point. It's such a mess. But I don't know what my glass is half empty thing when it comes to politics is the people who should run, who are good people, don't want to run. Because if they have one negative thing, then they're out. Mm-hmm. You know, I would love to run for office. I'll never run for office. I got 161 of these episodes where I'm talking all kinds of mad shit that
You just scrub the internet of it. No, yeah.
I can't run because I got too much shit.
I don't know, but that's the thing. The bad people who run also have shit.
I know.
And they get away with it.
So my cousin gave me a line that he heard that he said, the Democrats fall in love, the Republicans fall in line. And if that ain't the damn truth, like you look at Al Franken. Al Franken was a shithead. He was. What he did was stupid, and he was an asshole. Do you know about this?
Here? No.
No, Al Franken, he used to be a writer on SNL in like the 70s, and then he was a representative forever, and he went on some USO tour, and there was a pretty woman on that tour, and he was like, well, we got to kiss. Like, he did creepy shit like that while he was married and had kids. That's gross, and it's creepy. It made him resign. And he's never run again and probably never will run again.
Wow.
That's what he got caught in a photo. She had fallen asleep on the helicopter and he joked and was doing like that, but he was like 5 feet away or something. So what's funny is there were other women on the trip. They're like, no, he was fine. He was like, that woman is also a crazy right winger. Yeah. But it's like he will never run. But look at all the shit that the Republicans have done, and it doesn't matter. Marjorie Taylor Greene, that's all you got to say. It's like, and it doesn't matter. That guy.
It doesn't matter.
Al Franken was an ass. He was a complete. I'm not defending anything he did. But he is done. Yeah. Anyway, I can't go down that road. That's a sad rabbit hole, is what it is.
We don't want that rabbit hole. I like to lean towards nihilism in a positive direction, which is where you can try and make anything happen as much as you damn well please. And you should.
Yeah. The nihilistic view on that is, fuck it, the world is shit. Just do what you want, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what you want is good.
Yeah.
So just do it.
I'll give you a positive version of that. Like, my grandfather, who didn't talk much, who was kind of rough. That's him up there. Yeah, served in World War II, saw some gnarly shit in World War II. He always looked angry. He was not. He was a nice guy, but he always terrified me. But I opened up to him at one point when I was in college, and I was talking about I was working one place, wasn't getting treated great, had an opportunity somewhere else, but it was going to be a little bit more stressful and trying to make it out. And he sat there and listened to me talking. I never talked to him. And he was like, "Are you happy?" I said, "Huh? You happy?" "No." "Quit that job, go work that job. Life's too short to be unhappy. Life's too short to be unhappy." And he got up and he walked away. And he passed away within a month. So I think ever since I heard that when I was fucking 18 or 19, I was like, fuck it. Life's too short to be unhappy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to go do shit that makes me happy. It doesn't hurt anybody else. And if anybody has a problem with that, fuck them. Big guy privilege.
I can get behind that, man. Yeah.
You can totally. I'll defend the shit out of you. I got big guy privilege. You stand by me. Say whatever you want. I got your back, man.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, next time. It's like, and another thing. You're reaching over.
And another thing. Yeah. Let me tell you what.
Okay. So we touched on like the art. I don't want to say it's more of a function, but having more of a purpose than just looking pretty. Or
instead of just being a message, being the action.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good way of putting it. Is there anything else you'd like to see more of in art and creativity?
Well, I mean, you've talked a lot about...
I've talked a lot, yes.
You've talked a lot. I guess it's all that needs to be said. I just... You and many other people have talked about like wanting to have a more connected arts community. And I just wonder what that looks like. Because this is what I think about all sorts of things. I work for a river cleanup group. Shout out to Keep the Tennessee River Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all should check it out. It's awesome. Go volunteer. But so I work for them, and it feels so minuscule when you're out there doing the job, the hard job, kind of by yourself. Like sometimes we were just out there with 4 people, and I wasn't there for very long, but it was enough to like feel like, my God, I'm the only person doing this in the world. It's an insurmountable task. How are you going to do that? And then you look up and you see, oh, well, there's a group doing this here, and there's a group doing that in another county over, and all over the states and the whole country. And crap, I went on a Carnival cruise last year, and in the Bahamas, they had an exact same group, just like that. It was said like, keep Bimini clean, and it was the same type of group. Anyways, I'm trying to say is there's people doing all the same art things everywhere. And there's got to be some sort of way to like make a major connection highway of information being shared with all these different groups who are trying to do grassroots startups, so that people on that level can discuss with each other, like, can we pool funds? Are we both talking about the same idea, but like you're halfway across the country? Because then people wouldn't have to like scrape themselves off the bottom of the ground and start climbing the ladder or the wall. Like, oh, hi, I'm halfway up the ladder. Can I help you up? Like, we've already found the mistakes.
Yeah.
So there's just got to be a way to connect people so they don't feel like they're alone and the only one trying to do art or trying to start community groups.
Yeah.
I don't know what that looks like. An app?
I don't know what it looks like to get, like I said to you in DM, to get people to have a little bit of humility.
Yeah, that too.
To where they don't have to have their name above the... Here, I'll use a movie reference. They don't have to have their name above the title.
Yeah.
They can be a key grip. God, I'm going to use some geeky-ass movies. They can be a key grip, and it's just okay that they're a key grip. They don't have to be the big star.
They don't have to be best boy key grip.
Look at that.
I look at the little men
Hell
in
yeah.
the movie credits because I someday would like to be one. Just in the list of like 1 million art people.
I've gotten listed on some films because I backed them on Kickstarter. And so that was kind of cool
That's
to see my
cool.
name on like the end of a documentary about a comedian that I like a lot. I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit, there's my
There you
name.
are.
Actually tried to get it in paused and tried to get it paused where it wasn't blurry to get a photo. I was like, oh shit, there's me.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, anything like that, I guess it's just to see like the masses of people who are
Yeah.
all trying to do the same thing that you are.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the larger sense of community that might help make changes. I don't know what that looks like. It's hard to get so many people together without like power or ego coming in the way.
Yeah.
Because someone will be in charge.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a point where Dogwood Arts was trying to do this. They had this series of meetups to talk about like art and music and like what all that looked like. And it was a weird, I just sat in there and listened a lot of the time and then just picked apart. I was like, that person over there wants to run all this and thinks they deserve to run all this. That person back there has good ideas, but they're too timid and don't want to speak up. Because there was one of those meetings I sat next to somebody and they're like, I think we should be doing this. I was like, fucking talk. Stop sitting here. It's like, I'm literally going to pick you up by the scruff of your neck and hold you out like Simba and be like,
Say it.
talk. Like, do it. It's like, Jesus, like, we need more of you and less of that person over there. Like, yeah. So
Yeah. So I guess I'm just asking questions that I don't know the answer to.
that's good. You're asking the questions. That's important. Is there anyone you'd like to work with?
In the future?
Any?
Everyone. There's people I know I haven't met yet who are wonderful. And I don't know. I feel very drawn in by Knoxville's art community. Everyone is shocked when they're like, and how do you find the arts community here? And I'm like, it's great. But I think that's because I've been drawn in more so by the artists than
Right.
like collaborators or people who run organizations. And they're fine, but like I've really been welcomed in by like grassroots organizations and individual people. So I want to meet more of those people.
Okay. Do you set goals or a checklist?
I became an obsessive organizer in college because I'm so disorganized. So I love a spreadsheet.
Okay.
I'll make a spread. I'll help organize things. That's the problem. I'm also an organizer, but I'm trying to make sure I'm not being an asshole about it.
Okay. Do you know what you like to do in the next 10 years? Do you have any big future projects that you would like to spoil? Or let's split those up. Do you have any future projects? Then we'll talk about the 10 years thing.
Future projects?
Or something looming.
Something looming.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can disclose that right now.
Okay. Well, I gave out your Instagram, so it's
Stay updated.
Keep a follow.
I really, it's not my place to disclose at the moment.
Okay.
I have a big secret.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we all do. Do you know what you'd like to do in the next 10 years? Then I'll just transition to that.
I just want to keep doing what I'm doing. I mean, ideally, I'd like to full-time focus on projects rather than, working like a 9-to-5 job. I'd just like to work on arts projects, writing projects. Maybe if that means looking at like, how could I organize a group to do functional art or something like that. But just to have like the time and space and brain energy to get some of those things done.
Well, and like you said earlier, let's see, 10 years, so you'll move 2 more times in that time.
Yeah, who knows where I'll be. That's why if anyone asks a 10-year plan, I'm like, I have no plans. only now. No, I am not Zen.
Is there any museum or magazine where you'd like to see your work published?
Well, for a long time, I really wanted to be shown in the Redux Contemporary Gallery in Charleston because I thought there were some of the few people who might be interested in the baptismal works.
Okay.
So that's the first goal, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you could talk to the 14-year-old version of yourself, what would you tell them?
Oh, man. I'd tell them it's going to be okay. And to keep painting depressing paintings.
All right, that's a great point to go out on. Thank you for coming on.